It's a revolution, dummy. That's the statement made by one of the best recaps I've read of what's happening right now, and we're going to end with. Coordinated attacks happening everywhere. It's not a protest, it's not a speech, and it sure hell isn't random. From No Kings riots to Senate silence to stage photo ops to Democrat theater, we're watching a coordinated Marxist insurgency unfold on American soil. One aided by mayors, governors, and senators alike. While Trump fights for control, the GOP establishment plays dead and left plays revolutionary. Today, we'll expose some things that you may not be aware of. From the network fueling it, to why color revolution is too cute a name for what's actually happening. A full-scale takedown attempt on the last standing barrier to globalist control, President Trump, and then the Capitol's breached. The plan is exposed. And folks, to say this is a freaking mess would be an understatement. That's the story I'll bring you in 1 minute. You didn't forget this scene. I know you didn't.
I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the Secretary because the fact of the matter is a half.
That's all we're getting, and that's all I'm going to cover. You saw the clip. Something seem off to you about that clip? It should. Because what are the Democrats saying? How dare they? They're screaming because they've been waiting for one trigger event that they can latch onto. So right now, the trigger event for the moment is Senator Alex Padilla. Who knew that wasn't a QA session? It was a statement. Barges in. Even CNN saying, nope, can't do that. But now they got one of their talking points.
And anyone that knows Alex Padilla knows one thing about Alex Padilla. He's one of the most mild-mannered, decent people you'll meet.
I know Alex Padilla to be among the most mild-mannered of colleagues.
And Jamie is right. He is very mild-mannered. He's not the type of person who would necessarily do this.
People who may not be familiar with Senator Padilla, he is one of the most mild-mannered, nerdy, soft-spoken.
Who thinks of him as anything other than a reasoned, reasonable, mild-mannered senator.
Oh, they want you to believe everything they do is mild-mannered, right? Everything they do is mild-mannered. I was slammed to the ground and handcuffed, Padilla states. But of course, at the bottom of it, at least he went on to ask for donations. Can't believe America falls for this stuff. But we're here to make sure that you have all the information you need to dismantle anyone who may disagree with the argument we're about to show you. The events we're about to show you. Democrats reclaim the American flag. 2 days ahead of Flag Day, when President Donald Trump's military parade will run through the streets of Washington, Democrat Representatives Pat Ryan and Chris DeLuzio fanned out Thursday afternoon to give a gift their colleagues to unite them. A 4-inch by 6-inch American flag, which they passed out almost at the exact moment. Unbeknownst to them, you see how they link everything together. Mainstream media, Democrats work together in such unison. Unbeknownst to them that Senator Alex Padilla was getting forcibly removed and handcuffed at a Homeland Security press conference in Los Angeles. And act House Minority Leader Hakeem Jeffries, after he was done carrying Elmo, just watch my video from yesterday, it's unbelievable, Elmo, would later call unpatriotic. Patriotism does not belong to one party, the letter read. The flag and the values it stands for belongs to every single American. Patriotism is not something the Democratic Party should concede because patriotism is not something the Republican Party created. No crap, Sherlock. Never said we did. But wait, that's right. You want to get your talking points out there, your sound bites, your stage protest, so you can get arrested, so everybody in the country can watch it. The Democrats got their springboard. And then the plan's released. We're getting there. I'll show you who's funding it. I'll show you they just breached the Capitol. You missed this. You're not about to. The Republican Party does not own this country. They don't own the American flag. It belongs to we the people. Well, we never said it doesn't belong to we the people. But that's okay. Throw it out there anyway. because you're in your own echo chamber. Because I see how well you treat the American flag. Your protesters just happen to adore the American flag, don't they? No, oh man, that's the American flag fanning the flames of exactly what they want and burning. So let's talk about the American flag, shall we? And let's talk about a little respect for the American flag. And don't use it as a talking point when so many lives have died protecting it. It's disgusting. Everything that's happening. But we're going to get to facts and figures because you know that's what I do here. Because January 6th, everybody's up in arms. They broke through the barrier, right? They broke the barricades. Everyone, all the Democrats going insane. Republicans too, for that matter. It's all one darn same thing anyway. But not a word about this. You may not even have heard about this.
We got people breaking through the barriers of the Capitol building. We got people breaking through the barriers of the Capitol building. There's people that are breaking through the barriers of the Capitol building, rushing the Capitol steps. We got people rushing the Capitol steps right now.
Okay, I'm going to take a quick hard stop here to ask you 3 simple things. First, make sure you're subscribed to Lisa's channel. You see that bell below and that subscribe button? Make sure it's checked. Make sure the bell is clicked to all. 2, she'll put a link to my channel once you go there. The channel's growing daily, and that's thanks to each and every one of you. But Lisa and I worked harder. We've fought this resistance you're about to hear about, and we fight it every single day. And to do so, we created our own platform that nobody could touch. Because it's the only way I could provide you the news, unfiltered, uncensored, no commercials, no interruptions. We took it out of our own pockets because we don't want to be beholden to anyone. And that is restrictedrepublic.com. We want you there today. Monthly and annual subscriptions available. You want to fight back against this? You want to educate yourself fully on what's happening and hear every single angle? I need you there today. Restrictedrepublic.com. But now let's get back to this video. Not a word did you hear about this, huh? So genius, they dropped the barrier on one of their own, who was being arrested for breaking the barrier. So then they broke the barrier to rush to the steps of the U.S. Capitol is now breached. But you see, maybe this is what they enjoy, because they only gain power in chaos. That's it. Because they have no policy, they have no position. They've done nothing to benefit me. I don't know about you. So what do they have? The art of protest. And wait till I read you a recap of it. Powerful would be an understatement. They were carted off, hauled to a D.C. jail. Will they be in jail now for 2 years? Let's not forget J13. Because that's when this happened yesterday. No, they'll probably be released by the end, probably this morning, if not released already. But it's orchestrated, it's organized, right? Propagated by the very media that is supposed to be, right, mainstream media, fair and impartial. Can't even say that without laughing. You remember this interview here, right, with President Trump and the man sitting next to him, none other than Terry Moran. The thing about Stephen Miller is that, this is an update to this story, by the way, mind you. The thing about Stephen Miller is not that he is the brains behind Trumpism. Yes, he is one of the people who conceptualized the impulses of the Trumpist movement and translated them into policy, but that's not what's interesting about Miller. It's not brains, it's bile. Miller is a man who is richly endowed with the capacity for hatred. He is a world-class hater, coming from a media personality, okay? You can see this just by looking at him, because you can see that his hatreds are his spiritual nourishment. He eats his hate. What are they all trying to do here? They're really trying to drum up a lot of people really quick. So, ABC drops them. We will lose our democracy if we do not use our voices, Terry Moran. So now you're an activist, which you always were an activist. But at least you put it out there for us to watch. Well, you got a Substack you're promoting. Senator Murray is right, who aggressively slams Trump for detaining illegal immigrants, because that's not acceptable, right?
We use our voices, Mr. President. We use our votes, Mr. President, to be a part of this democracy, not violence. When violence...
Yeah. No, not taking it. Not accepting it. Because what you're fomenting is the real violence that has occurred and the potential violence that can occur. Don't speak out of both sides of your mouth, as we know everybody on Capitol Hill does, right? And it's unfortunate. We use our voices. Oh, you do use your voices. I don't know if you saw this clip from Comer and Company, because this is how well they use their voices.
Recognizes
Mr. Chair, unanimous consent request.
Mr. Frost.
Unanimous consent request into the record a NBC article. Senator Alex Padilla removed from news conference with Homeland Security Secretary Noem.
All right, without objection to order.
I have another one, the Hill article. Padilla forcibly removed from Noem press conference.
Without objection to order.
And I have a third one, Axios, Democratic senator forcibly removed from DHS press conference.
Without objection to order.
Mr. Chair, also, we were just talking about this. I want to know if you can commit to working with us so we can subpoena.
You're out of order. Chair recognizes
I have
Ms.
a point.
Green
I have a point of order.
No.
I have a point of order.
State your point.
We need to subpoena.
That's not
Secretary
a point of order.
Noem.
Chair recognizes
We
Ms.
just talked
Green.
about this
That's
earlier.
not a point.
We talked
Thank
about
you, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Reclaiming my time. Reclaiming my
Chair recognizes Ms.
Thrown
Green.
to the ground.
That's the
All right, Ms.
election.
Green, we're going to start the
Because
clock.
you
have
supported
anything
the
to say about
invasion
that?
of our
Mr.
country.
All right.
It's my time.
Will you
Hold it.
commit on the record
Stop
to
the
work
clock.
My
with
time.
subpoena
Thank you,
Christie
Mr.
Noem?
Chairman.
Own
Democrats
case.
can't follow the
You're
rules.
out of
Can't
order.
follow the law.
Will you
Can't
commit-
follow the
Shut
rules.
up. Just shut up.
No, you don't.
Shut
No, you're
up.
not going to tell me to shut up.
How do you get him in?
There we go. There is our government. So functional, so operational right now. You feel like we're sitting on top of a powder keg. The fuse has been lit and it's about to explode, because you wouldn't be too wrong, right? We have mayors and governors across this country right now fomenting. Well, what did Brandon say out there in Chicago? That's right. This is what our country would look like had the Confederacy won. Trump is a monster. Can't miss it.
Animus towards women, people of color, working people. We have always known who he has been. And this is not a surprise. He's a monster.
Dehumanization efforts underway. Mayor Johnson urges Chicagoans to rise up in defiance of Trump's immigration raids. This is a necessary fight for all of us to be able to push back, whether we use the courts or whether we continue to protest and raise our voices. Dissent matters in this moment. None of us are immune from the disease of ICE, he states. Dehumanization. Oh, this tactic is very well thought out. It is sick and demented. I did not know you could look worse than George Wallace. Let's continue forward, Brandon. Nah, we don't want ICE in our city, right? So what should we do? We should rile up people in the streets. And then Mediaite comes out, just to frame it before we get to the funding and before we get to the closing statement. U.S. officials fear Tiananmen Square moment at Trump's military parade. Do they really? Now, why would you put that out there? It almost seems as if it's a blueprint of sorts, isn't it? And then I'll read your blueprint. There's a very real possibility the president now presiding over this parade Saturday, today, showcasing the U.S. military's most fearsome weapons and most fearsome soldiers. And the message in that context is the context of what's going on in L.A. may feel more intended or as intended for a domestic audience than as impressing or intimidating our foreign adversaries. Immediately after the L.A. riots, Trump went into a room and said, I'm going to take the military, use them as a show of force against we the people. That's what they're stating there. It wasn't planned ahead of that. Of course not. He's been talking about it for weeks, but no, this is only because of the LA riots. Sick. They're very worried about that, and especially in the former uniform world, where there are retired Army officials. She continued. They are also worried about a potential Tiananmen Square moment where you have a protester standing in front of a tank. That is not what America is supposed to look like, and this is another one of those potential scary things that we could see on Saturday. Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Be a really cool picture if somebody could stand in front of a tank just like Tiananmen Square, and we could recreate it, and then we can use it as our springboard into the election. Yeah, they wouldn't do that, right? This is a very potent image, the host said. It is, Cooper responded. But you know, at the end of the day, it may all depend on where you sit. Let's give a little bit more direction that maybe you think we the people are too stupid not to pick up on. Oh, I am out of my mind. I am out of my mind with the series of events. But, this No Kings movement, right? If you're in Congress, you know that things are kind of rough out there right now. And you probably don't want to foment any violence because you say you only want peaceful protest. You say. So you shouldn't go after you shouldn't promote one of the larger movements out there, right? Because that could be dangerous. It could be irresponsible.
And celebrate our independence from an abusive and mad king. Because here in America, there are no kings, and we reject people who believe they are.
Well, so much for that idea. Thank you for your blatant promotion of the No Kings movement. And so you have it. Coming out of Congress, continue this forward. They defied our courts, deported Americans, disappeared people off the streets. We've read about this. You know the background of No Kings. Big website, right? Not just any website, though. Oh, no. Don't go that far. And, it's not only being propagated by Congress. No, it would be impossible that the mainstream media would actually promote merch for No Kings, right? CBS News, No Kings Day merch for sale on Amazon, Temu, and other e-commerce sites. I had to go in to see if this was an actual article. And there was an actual article. Except all it does is promote their merch and how much they're selling it for and how many results they have on Amazon. Great. So now mainstream media is complicit also. This June 14th Flag Day today. The plan's exposed. We know about it now. Capitol's been breached. Trump on their merch, except when you go on their merch, it's very interesting what you find. Outside of the toolkit of how to keep this organized. Outside of the promotion, in Rolling Stone, No Kings, millions to protest Trump's dictator-style birthday parade. Okay, great. Back to the website. And you go and you just click on any one of these. Just click on social. There we go. We clicked on social. Indivisible shows up. Then you click on merch and Indivisible shows up. Even on the header, if you look in your tabs when you go to No Kings and click on their merch, we have an organization called Indivisible. So let's dig in, because Indivisible is under the partners of the No Kings movement. And when you go down just a little bit, you'll see how much of a footprint they have, because it's sitting right here. Indivisible, 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 indivisible. Do I need to say it anymore? Let's just keep going. Oh, I missed one. I am so sorry. There's another one. So obviously these guys are behind this, right? Heavy imprint. Love this. Peter Schweitzer. Riot Incorporation exposed. The dark money billionaires behind the left's day of defiance. Oh, I've tracked this money on top of money, but I'm going to just make it real black and white here. Real easy. This grassroots day of defiance targets Donald Trump and his billionaire allies. The plan is out there. The dark money network funding is known as Arabella Advisors, which I have covered for you for years, whose benefactors are the left's own billionaire heroes, the control oligarchs of George Soros, Bill Gates, Hans-Jörg Weiss, Mark Zuckerberg, Reid Hoffman of LinkedIn. There you go. Arabella provided nearly $5 million to two left-wing nonprofits involved with the. No, don't worry. This is only tip of the iceberg. This is only $5 million. So just wait. One of those groups, Community Chain Action, supports the LA protests and has provided protest tips in Spanish. Its brainchild, the far immigration reform movement, has trained children how to aggressively protest. Oh, that's wonderful. Great. Let's get the kids involved, too. This weekend's day of demonstration is dubbed No Kings, a purpose-built protest, brand created by an entity called the Indivisible Project. I showed you the offshoots. Led by Ezra Levin and Leah Greenberg. There you go. But where are they getting all this money from? Man, because this couldn't be funded, right, to make sure it's as potent as possible. Knowing that Arabella's top benefactors, again, George Soros, shadowy Swiss billionaire, Hans-Jörg Weiss, are anchor investors in Indivisible's operations. Oh, no. Soros' Open Society Network provided important financial support, ultimately upwards of $8 million. As a matter of fact, so powerful is Arabella Advisors, the massive progressive dark money group that you'd never heard of. Well, now you did. Courtesy of Arabella Advisors and The Atlantic. Great. So let's go back to the article. This one, the drill down. Riot Incorporation exposed. How much money is it? The indisputable heavyweight of Democrat dark money. Funding, Indivisible. running No Kings, preparing for mass protest, and how much money's involved here. Let's just go through the spreadsheet of how much money has been. Oh, wait, it's a long list, so hold on. Because on the bottom, I don't know if you could see that on the screen, so I'll just make it a little bit larger for you. How about $114 billion? Go ahead, let that sink in. $114 million. So let's call this what it is. Let's call a spade, shall we? Because nobody did a better job than Linux Hippie. I know. Bring back the duel. It's a revolution, dummy. There could be disagreements about what the legal term to use to describe the events unfolding in the United States. How have the elements of the crime of maybe insurrection, revolt, sedition, domestic violence, or terrorism been met yet? Well, they're going to leave that to the lawyers. But whatever it is, it certainly isn't a protest or protected speech. Anybody knows what this is. It is a Marxist revolution. Full stop. The protest is the sea the insurgent swims in. The protest, the chaos, the riots make it appear as Trump is out of control. He can't quell anything in the United States. Look what he's done to the U.S. Because if you don't have policy and you don't have position, all you have is chaos. So what do you reign supreme in? Chaos. The visual, the soundbite, the talking point. From a purely objective point of view, the coincidence of judicial interference, to Senate Minority Leader Schumer sponsoring legislation to No Kings Act, echoing the already trademarked and merchandised No Kings, and the riots planned for this weekend, because that's very well what they may result in, to coincide with the U.S. Army birthday celebration, negating it, calling for a Tiananmen Square. The continued theater by Democrat politicians about kneeling to the executive. They had no problem kneeling for, well, I love that statement, but I'm remembering where this is being broadcast. I won't say it. And last but not least, the deafening silence of the Senate Majority Leader Thune. Oh, you think it was only Democrats complicit in this? No, because Republicans could be speaking up right now. Senate Republicans could be speaking up right now. They could be quelling this, but they're not. Why are they silent? Are clear indicators that the mass line has been established and the movement towards confrontation is well underway. And isn't that an unfortunate statement, but unfortunately a very real one? It is professionally negligent to point of criminal to not conclude something untoward is afoot. Ignorance that gets in the way of analysis is a severe national security threat. People see these riots as noisy and destructive, but no real threat to the Republic. They're wrong. Oh, they're dead wrong. These riots are a significant, severe, and real threat to the Republic. It shows dissent, chaos, anarchy. Trump has no control. Are you getting it? The Mau's insurgency model has not changed. The doctrine has been rigidly adhered to since Mao developed and successfully deployed it. While certain elements have been adapted to modern technology and tweaked to fit the target environment, it is all essentially the same thing. And that's what you're seeing unfold here. Who do you think orchestrated these plans, developed them, implemented them successfully, and now the blueprint's been followed? The blueprint is here, now, in front of you. I'm showing it to you. Folks called a color revolution are adding a level categorization that isn't necessary. It's revolution. Full stop. This isn't 5GW or whatever. Those terms serve to obscure what has been an element of warfare since the beginning of organized violence. Deception, distraction, misdirection, confusion have always played a part in the warfare. The advent of computers just provided a new delivery method. It's powerful statements here. We are living through the outcome of removing the threat-based analysis from our national security organizations and the forced conversion to effect-based analysis that relies on pseudoscience narratives to dialectically negate our subjective awareness of the reality right before our very eyes. Why do you think these NGOs are so up in arms? Because their money's been taken away. How much money do you think Arabella Advisors lost when the government starts locking them down? Why do you think they are funding what could turn into chaos? Because an administration stripped them of some of that money. when a Marxist insurgency being led by what appears to be governors, mayors, and federally elected senators and congressmen is allowed to deploy across the nation, when they're sitting in congressional halls screaming the No Kings movement, mainstream media backing up, when those same people are openly calling for troops to disobey orders they deem unlawful, and a Senate Majority Leader of the president's own party remains silent, we have a problem. That problem becomes existential when those who advise the president and provide him counsel don't recognize it is with this level of clarity. The theater with Secretary Noem is an indicator. The senator should be charged, and the march to his office. Thune should have thrown them out and warned them they were in violation of Senate rules, but he did not do that. Indicates we are right back where we were when last we had a President Trump. The GOP? Controlled opposition. If they're allowing for these events by not intervening in the entire Democratic Party, is the violent splinter that could fragment everything in seconds? In order to defend, one must know what is being attacked and what the enemy's goals are. To be confused about this is to be strategically dislocated, and ensures that responses will likely be under-inclusive to the threat, and we will fail. This is the goal of all the noise, and it's working. It's keeping the administration in an action-reaction cycle that the left is now controlling. Action, the administration has to react. And if you continue that cycle fast enough and furious enough, they could do nothing to benefit we the people. The only one it benefits, go ahead, put it in the comments. As crazy as the left appears to be on the street, those organizing these events are completely sane and have very clear objectives in mind. They have templated actions to achieve a minimum success criteria and are prepared to overachieve it. This is how they are controlling the administration. We don't have the majority anymore, even with the Republicans. And the Republicans don't have the majority anymore either because they can't even vote together. Negotiated settlement is always the goal. Okay, President Trump, we'll back down. We'll stop these protests, but here's what we want. When the insurgency doesn't have the combat power to overthrow by force of arms the existing government, dialogue and proxies, slowly over time, erodes the target's ability to generate a coherent defense of what is being attacked. And that's where we are right now. Open communications like No Kings is the C3 of the resistance movement. They want legitimacy. And if the Trump administration continues to be overwhelmed by these staged dramatics, Noem event, and fails to respond to open defiance of federal law by governors, mayors, and state and local law enforcement, they will likely succeed in achieving their minimum success criteria. Negotiation of the current administration's agency and place Trump's presidency that we voted for in jeopardy. And that might not only be the Democrats, because you've heard GOP also not so happy with them, not all of them. So whatever you call it, this sure isn't a protest, folks. Senator Thune and the GOP have declared by their silence they are siding with the insurgents. It is up to the population to ensure that the one thing they most desperately want they don't get: Trump to lose popular support. So as the administration fumbles around with what is a highly coordinated intersectional attack on the foundation of our country, the citizens need to be aware of the part they play. Trump loses, or is perceived to have lost, popular support, and all bets are off as to what the outcome will be. It is entirely possible that as president, he doesn't make it through the summer with any power remaining if the GOP turns on him. That, my friends, is what all this riot business is about. So what say you? We work hard here to dig out these facts, and they are stone cold, hard to swallow, hard to absorb facts. You disagree with that analysis? It's an opinion by the author, of which when I read it, it provided a recap perfectly of what I've been watching, what I've been reporting, and what is happening. What say you? Throw it in the comments below. I love you all. Until next time, Godspeed and God bless. Justice Knight, signing out.